how is it that a fella that is an astronomer, astrophysicist, got interested in the topic of UFOs and extraterrestrials? And I want this to start out way at the beginning of, first of all, of how did you get interested in astronomy? You were not a Christian, you did not grow up in church, your parents weren't Christians, you didn't know any Christians. In fact, it was the science that brought you to God, and I want you to tell that story. You grew up in Canada, let's start there.
Yeah, I grew up in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I was 7 years of age when the rain stopped, the skies were clear, and I could see all these stars. And I asked my parents, Mom, Dad, are those stars hot? They said, yes, they are. I said, can you tell me why they're hot? They said, no, you'll need to go to the library. So at age 7, I went to the library and came home with 5 books on astronomy and physics. And I was kind of doing that every weekend, going to the library and reading as much as I can on physics and astronomy. And then as I got a little older, I began to collect beer bottles that the drunks had left in our neighborhood and cash those in, and eventually bought a telescope mirror. And with my dad's help, I built a telescope. Then I began to do studies of newborn stars, T-Tauri stars, predominantly in the Orion Nebula. Wound up winning the British Columbia Science Fair as a result of that project. But it was when I was 16 that I was made the director of observations of the Astronomical Society in Vancouver. And I said, hey, we need to have an exhibit at the Pacific National Exhibition. So we got a booth, had people grind our telescope mirrors at the booth, but they put us right next door to the Flying Saucer Club. And so people would talk to them, and they'd come back to us and say, what do you think about this and that? And because I was an amateur astronomer and knew the night sky well, I was able to explain many of the phenomena that people thought were UFOs as being natural phenomena. And so I kind of got into the UFO thing by accident. It was not on purpose. But when I went on to the University of British Columbia to do my undergraduate work in physics, they said, hey, you know the night sky? Would you be willing to handle all these UFO reports that are being sent to us? And that kind of happened at every institution where I served. And so I wound up with a wealth of experience dealing with UFO reports, not on purpose, but I'm one of these rare astronomers that was an amateur before I became a professional.